So anything.
No, it's on my desktop.
We're all used to your work.
Try to be
Zero,
as
five,
paper free as
two.
possible.
Right.
Yes, it's just the town hall
We have
guest.
everything.
Okay,
That's what I clicked into.
great.
Seems to work okay.
I hope Caitlin's not actually driving.
She
She is.
Looks like it.
No,
She-
she have
she
to be
is.
on video.
She can hear us.
Oh my gosh.
As long as I'm not texting, I'm fine.
Those are my favorite types of meetings. So do you want me to begin right at 6? Okay.
Are we recording?
Ready? Okay. So I would like to call this meeting to order. This is the Town of Ulysses Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee meeting. It is May 10th at 6 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. We're going to start with roll call. So what I'd like to do is go around and have the committee members introduce themselves and just say who they are, and or if they're staff, they can say that as well. Am I forgetting anything? Okay, I can go first. So I'm Ann DePetta, and I am the chair of the committee.
Diane Cohen, committee member.
Niels Tegeson, town staff.
O'Brien, planning board.
Roxanne Marino, CSAC. Rebecca Schneider, planning board, and this one.
Hmm.
And this board.
Elizabeth Weatherby, town board, and I guess vice chair. Elizabeth Weatherby.
Yes,
and
great.
Caitlin's.
Hi, Caitlin Olson, town
That's
supervisor.
right. On Zoom, we have Caitlin. Do we have any other committee members that,
Not present.
okay. Okay, so the second item here on our agenda is to approve the agenda. So I'm wondering if the committee had a chance to review. Did anyone have anything they wanted to change or add to the agenda? Niels, did you have something? Because
Yeah. So the only change is on the which one? The DEC consultant RFP. I'll be briefing the board or committee on that a little bit.
so that's under new business A. Okay, anything else? All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 3, approval of last minutes. Did everyone get a chance to review our last set of minutes? Okay, did we have any changes?
It's consistent, but my name is misspelled all throughout. It's just one N. Diane.
All right. Got that?
I have one thing to suggest, which is under the work plan, the third sentence where it says Marino noted that 1 or 2 members of the Ag Committee and 2 or 3 community members were originally desired as participants. I thought it might make sense to clarify as in the outline from the comp plan review and update adopted by the town board September 27, 2022, because that's what I was reading off of. So it wasn't kind of like we just thought of it, didn't know why. So I'd like to add that. Did you get it? Because I can send it to you if you didn't mind.
Great. Thank you, Roxanne.
I have one quick suggestion. I don't know. When I was looking through the materials and I was looking for where was that list of things we're supposed to review, like on the Route 96 corridor plan, and it wasn't in the minutes, even though we talked about it. I had to go back to the agenda. I was like, oh, that's where they were. I don't know whether people, do you get the agenda with the minutes? So somebody would know that. Otherwise, I'd say those documents you might want to reference those documents in the minutes as well. It's a thought. Either way.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I had one last thing, which was under next steps. At the end, we said what we were gonna do at the next, there were the 2 target items for the next meeting, and those aren't really listed. It's just kind of topics that might be revisited in the future. So we said that we were going to review the plan, public participation draft plan, and we were gonna be able to review the RFQ draft. So just adding those 2 things, so we keep track of ourselves. But otherwise, I think they're great, Mommy.
All right, thank you for that. Anything else? I had one thing which I noted, I think in an email, which was my name was also misspelled and consistently throughout. So there's no E in Ann. But that was it for me. Okay. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
First, Rebecca.
Great, thank you.
So as amended.
As amended, sorry.
Second.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, great. That one carries. Okay, so we are to item number 4, which is privilege of the floor, which means those guests among us who are here in person or on Zoom. If you have any suggestions or comments, this is your opportunity to address the committee. You have up to 3 minutes to do so if you'd like to. And if you could tell us your name.
My name is Tim Fallon.
Okay, thank
To make one point, I don't remember seeing on the town board newsletter if the minutes of the meetings are published. And if they aren't, can they be?
They can, and they're on the website. So once these, it'll be about a week, maybe 2 weeks at most, we'll put the draft minutes up on the committee webpage. And then once these are final, we'll also put those up on the committee's webpage.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Anything else? Okay, I think that does that. So moving on to old business items, we are on a work plan. We'll start with the number 1 at the top, DEC Climate Smart Communities Grant Update. I think this was maybe going to be Michelle, but is it
That's me.
you?
Yep.
Okay,
So
thank you. Nancy.
Michelle's not here today, but she did convey information to convey to the committee. And I'm going to wrap up the update on here along with the RFQ, since they're kind of tied together here. So our DEC program manager for the CSC grant, her name is Maria Luis, is still reviewing the materials that Michelle sent them a while ago now. There's nothing more at this point, from my understanding, that we can do at this point. They're still in review of that. Michelle did also reach out to Maria Luis again, conveying that we need to kind of get this ball rolling, especially for our consultant. But part of that is in regards to an acronym that I'm not sure exactly about the acronym, but it deals with minorities and women in business and also veterans that need to have an opportunity to apply. And we need to reach out to them, make sure that language is fully sussed out as part of the RFQ. And sounds like DEC needs to give their buy-in before we can actually move forward on that. And once we have that draft, we also need to send it to Nate for legal review. So I'm hoping that by the next meeting on June 14th, we will have a fully fleshed out draft for the community members to look at and review. And then mid-June, it'll go to DEC for their thumbs up, hopefully, so that by July we can have a consultant. So I'm hoping by July we will have a consultant.
Is that no, I was just gonna- is that the MWBE
Yeah.
Yeah.
requirements and DBE?
Yes.
Are they gonna give us a number or a percentage of we have to include like a certain percentage of those companies on our RFQ, or just that we show that we reached out to and tried to work with one of those companies designated?
I'm presuming the latter, but Michelle will have the better answer for you.
Okay.
So I can reach out to her to get that answer.
I think it is that from past DEC things.
Just that you
Contracts with
reached
them.
out.
Yeah, that you demonstrate that you did adequate outreach to it. That it was an opportunity.
Okay.
I might even justify why it's elected if some applied. So my question is, you said, so if, say we had a fully fleshed out draft and then we gave our input and there was something, passed to release, so that's the middle of June, so how would, I mean, is this committee going to be engaged in looking at the responses and help and making a recommendation to the board who would ultimately make the choice, obviously, who to choose, because it seems like we should.
Yeah.
So we only have one meeting a month, and that's in the, so I mean, you're talking about the end of July then, potentially,
As
and
an-
how these meetings mesh with the town board meetings.
Yeah, so correct. As an advisory board or committee, I'm presuming that that is the case, that once we have a list, hopefully several applicants, that the committee as a whole will review that and give the recommendation to the town board.
So you're probably really looking at the end of July, perhaps the beginning of August for having a consultant.
If we get,
If you release it like pretty soon after June 14th, maybe you'll get the input by June 1st. Well, I get July, if we all looked at it all before that meeting, it would be July. Right?
so,
Then the town board meeting has to.
yeah, so it looks like the last town board meeting would be the 20th.
Of July.
18th
Oh,
July. So I'll look at
yes,
the
I'm just saying,
numbers. Yeah,
if we could put the timeline together, that, and you could maybe email us, if that would be helpful.
yep, I will do that.
Sorry, can everyone check if their mics are on? Someone closer to you as well.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else on the first item there under A? Okay, we can move on to the next one. Under old business, this is A2, continued committee membership outreach. So Niels, I think you were going to start us off on that one also.
I do. There were a few members of the community that we tried to reach out to or that were conveyed to me. I do have Ty Basilis is on here. She's shown interest and submitted an application for both the Ag Committee and the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. So I'm excited that she's here. I asked her to attend to see, just to see what's going on. Hopefully we'll be able to schedule a meeting with her and town board members February or Friday at the earliest. Might be next week, depending on Rich's schedule. I did have one, I believe, that Diane Mark, I haven't heard back from Marcus, unfortunately,
Okay.
on that one. But I also wanted to see if any other committee members have had any added suggestions. I believe there was one suggestion to bring some people from shoreline area, and I do have this list. I'm not sure how accurate it is. It sounds like it might be a little out of date that I got from Chris, so we can reach out to them as well. But if there's any other members of the public that committee members would like us to reach out to, please let me know.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. So Jim Dunn is a member of our resident here. He worked for 35 years for the park system. All the different ones, the Gannon Park and then Robert H. Treatment Park. He's very thoughtful and he's really intelligent. I think if we can get him to do it, he'd be a great addition. I don't know whether he's willing to, but I would definitely consider having him. You want me to give you his contact information? Is that the best way to proceed?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
About some of the, there's a CSA down on 96 Stepping Stone. Excuse me?
I've reached out. Try.
Yeah,
And there was, I believe, well, there was their farm manager, not the
Yes.
owners, but
Yes.
Michelle had contact with the farm manager and we reached out to them as well.
So you want to go? Yeah, you're going first.
I was just gonna say that I did reach out to 4 other active people in active farming, different types of, but it's anybody that they also are interested in, I could circle back. More, but the other thing I wanted to say was that I guess the town board is gonna probably enlarge the membership of this committee beyond what was originally passed in the outline for doing the plan, which was 9 people. So, but I'm just wondering how many people we're going up to. Because at the discussion at the board meeting last night, there was some discussion of, or to think about how many people we're going up to, just in terms of how well we can function and how many it works, that's all. Because there was still filling, the real need for the agriculture community, perhaps making sure there was as good a geographic balance of where the committee members were from as possible, which were 2 things that were in that document for as important. So and we already have 9 people the 9 that, and but not balanced the way it said there, which is all fine. I'm just saying that we're getting up to at least 11, if not more. So
Yeah, there was a discussion last night, which was raised by Roxanne, and well, raised appropriately, that we don't want to have a large group on this advisory committee, but we also want to make sure we have representation of the diversity that we have in this town. So last night, the town board approved Allison Weaver to be the business representative. She owns Nest Sibley Funeral Home. And then we approved Rose Hansen as the village liaison. She lives in the village and has been keeping track of the village comp plan and the zoning updates that they have. So we want to ensure there's a voice from the village specifically here as well. We definitely want to have that agricultural voice. So I'm glad to see Ty on. And hopefully we can convince her and work with her and maybe one other representative as well from the Ag Committee. But I think, and Roxanne was also the one who brought this up last night, was the lakefront. We want to ensure somebody from the shore in the southern part of the town is represented because that's a big aspect of our town as well. So I don't think we want to start looking at 15, 20 people by any means, but the town board had approved, I think it was 9 in the outline from last September. But we're going to relook at that and also look for advice and guidance from this committee or this the committee to see what is a reasonable number. Is 11, 12 okay? Not go beyond that, or is that really too many? Like, given that we're heading into summer and this is a long-term effort, and perhaps because there are already days that we already know some people aren't going to be here, maybe to make sure we have a good representation, we bump it up to 11 or 12, but then that's our max. So the town board would like some feedback.
This goes on till 2024.
Yeah.
So people have to be aware that it's going to be till 2024. Some people might just drop out because they get bored.
Yeah.
These are very slow proceedings when you work on this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know, you could have 12, but you could only end up with 9 at the end.
That's true.
I would hope in the interview process, the board's using that they're trying to explore whether people are devoted to doing this and understand, but, and not decide that the board, they might have other things that stop them from serving for the whole time. but-
Yeah. There's all sorts of things that can come up,
Oh, yeah.
but I think you're right that
So as a
Common with
roster,
people.
so I compiled a roster for Ann, for where we stand now. So it sounds like Allison is our business
Mhm.
personnel.
That's what she was approved of.
Okay, so then we have, if we have 12, then we have 2 ag committee slots open and 1 community member that hopefully we can get someone from the Lake Shore to fill, and that would make 12.
The Lakeshore is going to be the hard one.
We already have 2 community members, right? So is it 3? I'm just trying to add it up. So-
There's 1, if we have 3 slots for community, there's 1 vacant, correct? We have, I can go through the list, or I can just send it out. for
Yeah,
everybody to review.
that would be great to send it out, thanks.
Yep,
And ultimately, this would go on the website too.
it is on the website.
Oh.
Yeah. I just don't have the breakdown of who's
Okay.
who's who, as far as like representation.
that's helpful.
So if anybody knows somebody from the Lake Shore, but we gotta see if we can pull somebody.
I do, actually. Our former administrative assistant. Sorry, mind blank, sorry, seen a moment. It'll come to me. She actually had a bachelor's in marine biology and she went into doing administrative. So she was our administrative lead for like 20 years. She's really good. Sarah Gould, do you know her? She bought a house right on the lake. Is she in
Sounds like a
Ulysses?
good candidate if she was.
Yeah, I have to
Marine
find out if she's in
biologist
Ulysses or
especially.
south of Ulysses.
I
She
like
can't
it.
work if she's not in Ulysses, right? She has to be in our town. All right, I'll find out. I just remember she bought a house. I'll find out. Sarah Gould, yep.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else on that? Niels? Anybody else? Okay. Next item, number 3, community committee member training.
Do you want me to take this or you got it?
I can go into it. I was just gonna touch base with committee members, see if you've had the opportunity to go back and look at the materials that was presented last week. If there's any additional materials you'd like to have access to or feel that would be helpful for the group, that'd be great to let me know, and then I can distribute that and put that on the webpage.
So the last, excuse me, the last one is 2009 for Ulysses.
The comp plan,
Yeah,
correct.
okay, because I read through it and there's a lot of good sections in it that sort of don't even change really. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was the last one.
And the traffic, 96 corridor traffic, I read the first, but I only saw one, the technical one, the first one. There's 3 more.
There's 4 total.
There's 4, right, total. Where are those? Are they?
They're all in one document, so I can break that out because it is massive. So,
So the one I looked at only had like 15 pages. It didn't have like hundreds of pages.
okay.
I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure I went to the whole thing because I was looking for the summary recommendation. Maybe I just looked at it. I'll look again.
So
I'll let you know.
Okay, it's one of those documents on the webpage, but I think now that I'm thinking about it, I am just going to break it down because it is a large document. There's 4 separate chapters.
Right, yeah, okay.
And just, it's a little outside of this committee's sole purpose right now, but just to give everybody here a heads up, the town is working on a resolution to try to bring in some additional, some training so that we all, public officials, which include elected officials, let's just say, public officials, which are going to be designated as the planning board, the zoning board of appeals, and then we have included the comp plan steering committee as part of this. We would like, and we're hoping to pass this pretty shortly, but the training, we're looking to install and require trainings, 3 specific trainings, sexual harassment, ethics, and civil rights trainings, just to ensure when we're working with the public or working with each other, that everybody has the same playing field in terms of expectations. So I know some of you are probably going to be getting that if you're on the planning board. You're going to be included in that already, but we would like and are going to start. I think there's training next week
On the 18th.
on the 18th.
Right.
There is a training in-house,
At
but
what time? Because you really didn't put that out.
that's, it was told last night 11 to 1. I'm sure we'll get a notice out to confirm that. If you're not able to take that course, if you're not able to be here, there is going to be a remote option, as well as an online version if you're not able to come in person.
Yeah,
We know it's a lot to ask above and beyond everybody's
right,
busy work, but we really feel it's important as we're dealing with the public to.
totally.
to
I'm
have
totally
this.
supportive of it. It's really that we have I work full time,
Yeah.
I have other commitments like
Nope.
I have events. If you can make an online version that we can take outside of the 9 to 5 or 9 to 6
Yes.
time slot, perfect.
Yes,
Totally
yes,
happy to
that
do it.
was something that we received feedback from a variety of different people for, and we are looking to modify that language in the resolution that will be, we didn't pass it last night, we didn't even break it up last night because we don't have it.
That's
But
What was the, can you say the date and time again?
it's May 18th. Let me just check my calendar.
on my calendar already.
11 to 1
It's 11 to 1. okay, 'cause I had
here
it on-
in this room.
in this room.
Yes.
I'm gonna record it. and
It will
share
be
and-
recorded and then there'll be
Great.
also an option for an online version. In case you aren't able to attend either the remote version or the in-person one. And if you do the online version, there will be a time requirement to do it by, but I think it's like 90 days, 30 days, not 60 days plus
Mhm.
30-day
Great.
option. So
Thank you.
we would
Yep.
understand everybody's very busy, but we, again, feel it's very important for us to do this. So.
That's very flexible. Thank you.
Is there a registration? I got the email. I have it in my calendar, but I don't know if I actually registered for it. So. don't know.
I
I got
don't know if
something
there's a
from
registration.
the
I think you just show
supervisor.
up.
Yeah,
Okay,
you just show it.
Okay.
No,
right,
so there's gonna be,
Stuff, but
okay.
on my calendar, it's also longer, so I don't know
I
if you
had it
guys got
from-
it different.
I had it from 8 to 1 in my
I had it
calendar.
from each one originally too, but last night they said 11 to 1.
11 to 1, okay.
That
So-
sounds
Will
nice.
someone confirm?
It does sound
that?
nicer,
Like a
easier
time-
to work around
Yeah.
too.
time,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got.
can you guys hear me?
9 to 2. All
All
right.
right, so it sounds like
More
we're,
and more intensive.
yeah, it sounds like we're gonna get the time ironed
11 to
out on
1
that.
sounds good.
11 to 1 sounds great. Sounds like we'll get that ironed out. Is that gonna be you, Liz, or is that Neil's that will figure out that?
I'll touch base
timing
with
of that.
Lexi tomorrow. She'll be
Okay.
in the office tomorrow.
Okay. Great, thanks for doing that. Anything else on that topic or committee member training? Okay, next up under the work plan is tracking of hours. So this was going to be Niels and Michelle, so.
So I just want to make or confirm that you all got the PDFs and our
Mhm.
Excels. Okay, so something I just caught after chatting with Michelle today, I didn't realize we have block times. I don't know, in case you didn't see that. So we're doing it quarterly. So probably not too many, maybe just Roxanne and might have hours to clock from March.
Mhm.
The next time period is April to the end of June. And when tracking hours, please just do it in 15-minute increments.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping to have real hours. So if you actually spend 2 hours, please put 2 hours. Don't try to truncate it at all because it'll help us move forward with future planning efforts to know how much time it actually takes everyone to do the job
When do you want time sheets in? The end of the period?
at the end of the period.
So you want us to go back and just sort of remember and estimate for, you're starting from March.
If you had any time, from March 15th, just kind of best guesstimate,
We're including the time it's been here.
correct?
Oh, you want time here also?
Yes.
I meant to print one in my office, but I don't have a printer at my house, which is where I do most of this work. Great, sold. Thanks.
And so I'm just assuming that because there was a PDF and an Excel sheet, you could do it either way.
Yep.
And so,
And email it to me.
and then one other question, which is, so like, this was designed to have people representing different boards or committees, so need for conservation sustainability. So whenever, it hasn't happened yet, obviously, but they'll get engaged later on as there's things to read. Like, would I just make a separate thing and just say, 5 people times 2 hours, and so how do you want to track that? Or have you thought about that?
I guess I don't. Are you talking about your particular committee's
Yeah,
time?
well, that committee say, we discussed it at a meeting that we had, and then people read some piece of something that we're seeking input for. That would be volunteer time that you want to check as well, I presume, for the match. I mean, we talked about it in the grant as all the people that were working on those committees.
Yeah, I think what might be good is on your timesheet, just mark your time, but then make a note of additional committee members or
So
board members.
Make like another one and just have it be for all of that number of people times the number of hours or something. That's good enough.
Yeah, and then I'll let Michelle work out if that actually needs to be
Okay.
included. or not.
Yeah, it hasn't really happened too much yet, so just.
Good question.
Yeah.
Anything else? Timesheets? All right. Moving on to number 6, new business. We are not doing A, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we're moving on to B. The public participation plan draft overview, also called public involvement plan. I think Niels is going to lead us on this discussion as well.
So I'm hoping everyone had the opportunity to review it. I'm looking for any and all suggestion amendments, but for tonight's discussion, I'd really like to focus on section 3 and 4, which is section 3 starts on page 5 and 4 starts on page 7. So if there's a typo right there.
Members.
Members, yep, got that one.
And okay, I'm gonna figure out why her track her spelling errors. not working.
I have comments
Which page you
earlier
want to
than
start
that.
with?
Let's start on page 5, unless you have
Wait, I
any.
have comments earlier,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
sorry.
Yep. Yep.
One, I don't know, did you write, I like it, it's well written, it's very clear, and it's a nice plan. I think you have lots, like noted there. The point I want to make is this, well written, looking good. You have several statements, particularly on page 3. Planning is fundamentally about people, communities to go home, where to go, it can be grounded in the needs of the people, the locations where they live and work, the broader community as a whole. It's all focused on the people and the current people. But if you look in like the Tompkins County plan and in 96 corridor, all the different things that we're using as reference materials, there's a more emphasis put on the importance of the environment. For example, in the Tompkins County plan, their overarching principle says Tompkins County should be a place where the needs of current and future generations are met without compromising the ecosystems on which they depend. And I think, given this document that we're creating, which will be read, I want that point also in this document, that yes, it is about people and our current people, but not compromising the environment, because it's the future depends on protecting the environment now. And it's not in here, it's so small, like, oh, there's one word that says environment. So, I mean, if you want, I can help, I can make suggestions about where to put that. But okay, is that how you want me to handle it? I'll send some edits to just emphasize those pieces. I mean, so it's in every other document we have, the natural areas one and all, but it's not in this one.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just going to ask you if you could please
I'd be happy to.
draft a letter and say where you think.
Yep, I'll just take it, do edits and say, put it in here.
Yep.
Great, thank you very much.
On the 2009 plan, the objective number 1, policy area number 1 is the section that you're talking about. It was in the original plan.
But this document, which is a public participation piece,
Right.
it's not reflected here. And-
No, but it is reflected in the old one, and it actually could be just
Yes.
used into the new one.
Okay, that's great. I'll come up with some wording choices and
Yeah.
send them to Niels, and then we can work from there. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No.
Well, I'm looking to Anne, but
Oh, sorry.
Are you supposed to call?
Oh, sorry. Hi, Roxanne, yes, sorry.
Related to that,
Making notes.
actually, I think it would be nice to add a connection, a sentence or two to the fact that we're going to be looking at incorporating sustainability considerations, climate vulnerability throughout this plan as a purposeful thing,
Mhm.
which we applied for that grant for and got. And so I'd like to, that it relates to what Rebecca says, but also I think it's an exciting aspect of the plan. So I can try to make a couple sentences for that if you want
that'd be
and
great.
send them on too.
If you look at the 2009 plan, it's a whole section about the environment, water, land, everything. You can probably draft something from what they have in that to put into the new plan.
All right, well, we have things from when we wrote the grant too, related to sustainability and that we were highlighting. So there's lots of stuff. We can just pull a couple things out of.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay. So it looks like maybe Caitlin was trying to say something or join in, but now I think she might not be on Zoom any longer.
Is that Ty's on that?
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, she's, Caitlin's been in and out. But yeah, the-
Mommy. I'm here, you just can't hear me.
The volume on the computer's up.
And it sounds like Zoom
We're not getting.
can hear her, but we can't. Can we send her a call-in number?
I think it's our end. So Caitlin says that Ty and Caitlin can hear each other, but they can't hear us.
Or they can hear us, we can't hear them.
That's right.
Okay.
But yeah, if they can hear each other, then it's not a call-in problem unless she wants to call somebody's phone.
And the computer, is the computer volume up?
How do you normally resolve an issue like that?
Haven't had that issue yet. but
Okay. Like maybe she could call, we could put her on speaker.
But if they could unmute and say something, I changed the output, maybe that'll work now.
Could one of you unmute and see if it works now?
Test.
Oh, yeah, there you are.
Sorry, Caitlin.
Okay. All right, so whenever you're ready, Caitlin. You can,
I was trying to confirm before that an email, we were waiting to get through last night's town board meeting to kind of see where the direction of the town board was moving in. And in terms of required trainings, I will send out an email tomorrow morning about how you can access that training if you want, if you care to do it live or in person. The trainings that are being proposed to be required would happen between 11 and 1 p.m. next Thursday. Do not have to be present to take training. We have remote options available if that does not fit in your schedule. Again, it's not been passed by the town board. It's not required at this juncture. But if we would love to have you if you'd like to come on Thursday. But we appreciate that might not be convenient at this juncture.
okay, everybody get that? She was breaking up a little bit. Caitlin, if you kill your video, your audio might come through a little more clear maybe. But I think we got everything. Did you want to add anything else? That's it. Okay.
I'm going to be switching to my computer in about 2 minutes, so I'll see you then.
All right. So we are on the public involvement plan. We've had a couple of recommendations for the first few pages. Anything else? Pages 1 or prior to page 5? Okay.
If there are further updates, you want us just to do track change and send them to you. If they're like a wordsmith here or there.
Track changes is best. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So page 5.
Yeah, page 5, brainstorming, hopefully members of the public and stakeholders, any group that you feel would be beneficial, needed on this list. And we're trying to be as thorough as possible, hopefully not missing anybody.
I have a suggestion. So, the thing about Land Trust is the director is Andy Zepp. I don't know if you all work with that group at all. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So, I honestly feel like they have some of the best, Andy Zepp is one of the most visionary about how to manage our landscape of anybody I've met anywhere, seriously. So he has a number of programs, supported, actually the government starting, our state government is starting to use Finger Lakes Land Trust as a way to buy and trade off properties so that we have preserves and parks. He has a vision for what he calls the Emerald Necklace, which is a series of properties that go up through Ulysses that allows for a corridor of organism movements and to him, the Black Diamond Trail is a key piece. So I've talked to him about, well, you know, what we do with zoning in our town about 2 years ago. He goes, well, this is like a no-brainer to me. You're right off the Black Diamond Trail. You should be connecting that up to the town of Trumansburg so that people will go and use that as an economic place to stop and spend money. And he had some other ideas about what we should do with the Gigantic Creek protection. So I think he'd be a great, I mean, he's more aware of what are the key locations to protect. So I would recommend we include him in the Finger Lakes Land Trust as a participant. I don't know how we're getting, you know, that kind of input, but I know he would be a really smart one.
Put that under environmental stakeholders.
And that was on my radar, but thank you. I'm surprised it didn't make it.
One thing I don't see is the fire.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah, emergency services. I put-
Under other local government.
Other local?
So I actually was wondering if that was
Oh, yeah.
the most appropriate spot for them.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I just, it's on the next page. I didn't,
Oh, yeah.
just missed it. Trinity Fire Company. Okay.
I didn't know. There's an acronym. Is the Rotary Club on here?
Yes.
Okay.
I had emergency services because of police. I don't know. I mean, there's fire, but
Well, there should also should be emergency
Yeah.
services, EMT, because ambulance corps,
yeah,
because they have to get around in case of an emergency, they should be involved in.
so I didn't know if that goes under town departments and services,
The
sheriff is broader and
Yeah,
yeah.
whichever, but they should be involved in some way. 'Cause I do notice that a lot of people don't have their number plates in front of their homes, the little,
Right.
the ones that they
the
gave out.
fire markers. Yeah.
Yeah, the markers, and that's very important, especially at night, if an ambulance doesn't know where they're going, even though they do have,
Mhm.
GPSs, but still, those markers are important.
I like to recommend we put organic park, because that's, that's like the key to who we are, and maybe also there's that water issue as well, they have like one of the wells for the town or something. So maybe a representative from organic park would be a good person.
Are we including the school district or am I missing it? Or, I mean, I know they're not in the town. Oh, is it? Oh, there it is. Ah. That seems like it should be bad.
I don't know about. But the town has a project looking at source water issues and making a drink more protection plans on the New York Rural Water Association. So perhaps.
Other environment.
And for Tompkins County, I mean, the county in general, but I wonder about specifying the Department of Planning and Sustainability, because those are the people that you really get a lot of demographic information from maps and data. So we also work on the hazard mitigation and the other things that.
So under other local government, there's just a catch-all Tompkins County,
Right.
but if it doesn't make sense to, I mean, there's a lot of departments there. It doesn't make sense to break it up apart and list everything. Or does it make sense just to say Tompkins County?
I think you have a lot under state government or like the social services agencies already. So I think if we pull those out and have it Tompkins County header with all the different organizations under Tompkins County underneath that, I think that would make sense.
I
And I
think
think
just recognizing them specifically because they really do have a lot.
Mhm.
They provide help to municipalities. They have a lot of pertinent information. All their plans come out of there. Corridor plans and
They've- Grant writing, I think now they've got some more, and sustainability. plan, Yeah.
A lot. They have a whole director of sustainability who was in our town, who was on the CSSC, so.
Okay.
There's good overlap.
So similar, if I can touch base on Rebecca's. So you mentioned the park under state government, kind of maybe it's a similar situation where I've got parks, rec and historic preservation. Should we then do a sub of Tagana Park?
Yeah, I think so. They're pretty, I mean, falls is, key. And if they said, oh, we have issues and problems, we really want to be part of that discussion, it would be worth hearing their personal perspective about what's going on with that. I would think so, yeah.
I have a question on other. I see you have a couple of question marks on some of the items. Is there a reason for the question marks?
Any feedback and or advice you can help on like ADA groups, if there's any large groups that for ADA, ESL, if there's any other advisory committees that you're aware of or neighborhood associations. A couple last discussions we had was like the wine trail, the art trail.
Well, those would be important for here, especially here.
Yeah.
What about built environment, historic Ithaca?
One group.
Historic Ithaca is a nonprofit. There's also the History Center of Tompkins County, but Historic Ithaca does the actual advocacy and preservation guidance. I'm not sure what the History Center's charge is. Well, maybe they should be, maybe both should be on there. I don't know.
Historic Ithaca also has a purview of all of Tompkins County, so the town's worked with them previously. It's a good idea.
That lake, I don't know the official name, but that Lake Shore housing community that was brought up. Isn't there a name like Lakefront Housing? There's some association,
Mhm.
Oh, the West Shore Home.
West Shore Homeowner. Thank you.
Is the yacht club in the town of Ulysses or town of Ithaca?
Yeah, we have
I think
one.
it is.
It's town of Ulysses.
They're on here? Okay.
No, I said I can have them.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a community association in Jacksonville too. Is that on here?
All right.
Yeah.
He's our planning board chair, but I think for a while he was ahead of that. I don't know if
He
he's still-
is. Yeah.
Yeah, how would you guys, how would we deal with, in the agricultural sector, the Bergen Farms bought up, I think, now I'm probably wrong about this, but it's like 10% of our land is now owned by Bergen Farms, which is located in Enfield. And so, I mean, that's a major landowner. They're not resident here. I don't see how, we don't set aside for other particular farm owners, but that's a pretty big chunk of land, so, and they have, you know, if they're doing things, they're definitely applying certain practices. Do we want to make sure, I don't know how we're engaging all these groups, but it's something to consider. 10% a lot.
They're, they might be on the ed committee, so.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's a good
Mhm.
point. Should we have a subcategory of ag and list like the CSAs and
Well, we
businesses?
also have a vineyard here.
That's a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know if the fairgrounds would fall under that, but I don't see fairgrounds on here.
That's a good idea to include. The Fairgrounds Association.
Isn't that Trumansburg though?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're all part of.
it's all the
town, right?
same. We're all the same.
It's a subset of the Trumansburg Village? I didn't know that. I thought
They
were
got-
their own
they-
No.
property.
No, they are it's part of the town. They're in the town outside village,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
outside of it, right.
outside the village. Yep.
Okay.
I think I got that. If
Other
anyone else
ideas?
has more, please just
Um,
send them.
Okay, yeah, Sustainable Tompkins is now Sustainable Finger Lakes.
So when we target businesses, is there, how are you doing that? Are you looking for like a master list or you're just going through the chamber or like what?
So again,
You know, when you're looking for businesses like Class and Home Health, you know, that has Evergreen in Jacksonville. You know, how are you collecting those names?
so I went out, I sussed out, at least with the chamber, a number of organizations that are associated with them. So I do have a list that's not in here, but in our distribution.
Yeah,
So anything more, and I can compare between the two. But this is more for this outreach plan. Yeah.
right.
so Broad.
okay.
Tompkins Learning Partners, I think, does the English as a second language, works with a lot of people. So they're in the city of Ithaca, but Tompkins is in their name, so I would imagine they have some reach.
What
What
about
was the name of them?
Tompkins Learning
Where's
Partners.
Education, nonprofit.
Are they in?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
town.
yeah.
Racker?
Rackers?
Yeah, Racker would be good.
Mhm.
They may have some ADA.
We used to have meetings, sometimes big, like last time comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
was on the news, they had a big room.
Cover a lot of this.
It's probably down south.
Mm.
It's helpful to another.
Nice list, Neil. Put together a very
Yeah,
comprehensive list.
it's great.
Rather this much, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's surprising when you started looking at it.
How many
How
people
many people?
engaged in this little town?
Yeah.
The only one under federal government that I could think, but I don't know if we're actually gonna have any interaction with them, would be FEMA.
More, and I still haven't reached out to Carissa, but she should have a list of all property owners. And it's more to see if there's any
There's any-
federal agency that owns land within the town.
Yeah, that would be in case of a hurricane or whatever. I've worked with
Yeah.
FEMA in another project and around here, I don't know you would even have that really.
No, and the
No
flooding,
emergency, really.
I know that EMC is working on a lot of flooding. Trying to
Well,
prevent some of the
flooding, yeah.
flooding issues,
Mhm.
but I don't. We're kind of up on the high on the hill, but I'm not gonna be ignorant and saying that we're never gonna have flooding issues here.
No
So-
national forest.
But again, I don't know if that's gonna be us interacting with FEMA or us just reviewing the maps and working with the EMC.
I mean, it might, one of the things we did say we would do in that application, but may decide not to, but was to develop a, I think it was like a climate resiliency or vulnerability plan study, and with some of the, consulting help with from the DEC grant. And so we would need to look at those maps and consider that anyway, in order to do that. And they just released new, flood maps, and Tompkins County kind of did meetings on that. Terry Carroll, who's the sustainability officer at our last committee meeting, reported a little bit on that and said that, there really aren't that many areas in the town of Ulysses, but there are a couple where it's listed as a potential concern. So we should definitely look at those, especially if we do decide to take on some of those other things. The climate vulnerability
Mhm.
resilience as part of the plan. I mean, I think it's a great idea if we have the capacity.
My last one is the Farm Bureau. And maybe 4-H, although Angie is the head of the 4-H, right, Caitlin? I think he
Yeah,
is.
he is.
So he might be able to, we might utilize him for multiple other items.
Mhm.
I know 4-H is not as active in the town right now, but hopefully that can change.
Okay.
I would also include Trumansburg Community Nursery School. INHS. I didn't see INHS on the list. I might have
It-
missed
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
What was the first one, Caitlin?
it. Trumansburg Community Nursery School, TCNS is the
Oh,
acronym. And then Ithaca Neighborhood Housing. INHS services. And I don't know, I don't think you need to list out everyone, but as some, I think recreation groups. Also, there are a lot of, I know you've got TCR, Trumansburg Community Rec. But I also think that we could get some, might want to get some good feedback from the different sports organizations. Liz and I could put together, I'm sure, a pretty comprehensive list of those operating. I don't think they all need to be listed by name in the organization, in the document, but I think identifying rec groups broadly is probably a good idea.
I agree. What's the bike group that does the thing in Trumansburg? I've never done.
Oh, around. roundabouts.
Yeah.
That's just
Anyway.
done by an individual.
Yeah, I guess
But
maybe. I don't know, but there's a
forgot.
club. There's a club. I can try to find out. Okay.
Very complete. Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
open it up to the public, if we're done with the committee members.
Yeah. Does anyone else in the room have anything they want to add to that component of the plan, our outreach plan, our community involvement plan, stakeholders that we haven't?
But yes, my name's Carrie Foster and I'm the one that Michelle
Oh.
reached out.
Hi.
I wasn't sure if I should or introduce myself, but yeah, so I'm here just because I've never been involved in anything, so I'm getting the feel of something. So maybe I could talk to somebody later, or if I just fill out the application and then that's when I'll talk and have all the answers or questions answered. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, we're happy to talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
If you have specific questions or.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
nice to meet you.
Sorry, we were talking about you. I didn't know.
No, no, that's okay. I was like, it's me, but I'm just. My turn. Yeah.
Great, Roxanne?
I'm just, because I guess we're moving off this list soon, but I just want to ask, what are you gonna do with this list? I mean, are you gonna send I'm just trying to understand. I mean, I think it's a great list, but are we gonna send like a notice to all of these groups and individuals and say, we're doing this, keep an eye on the website, here's our schedule, or are we gonna actively, more actively try to continually get feedback from them? I mean, this is a lot of people, so I'm just.
I do not associate with niggers.
Sorry, I don't know what that was, but I just wonder, I'm just wondering, like, in general, what the
Yeah.
thinking is.
In another, I did it, well, we called it a master plan in New Hampshire. We did the same thing. We sent out mailers with questionnaires that they would send back.
Mhm.
You know, what do you think is important in the town and all that? And we sent it to lists like that. We made up lists like that also. That's another way to do it, because a lot of people aren't going to show up here.
Yeah. It's really weird.
This meeting.
Oh, okay.
And the other way would be also to have like mailers that you can leave at businesses where people can pick them up, or the library where they can pick them up. Instead of mailing them all out, and that way they can just drop them off at the town hall.
Yeah.
Or back at the library or wherever any of the businesses. Sometimes they might have a cup of coffee, fill it out and leave it there. And that will help get some more of the public involved with it. Just an idea.
There's, and I think Niels and I, well, we kind of talked a little bit about this. Do
I'm
we have
wondering
a-
if Arthur's trying to.
Do we have the ability to mute? his
Maybe he's trying to
mic?
say something.
Or Arthur, did you want to say something? Your audio is not good. Yeah, if you can put that in the chat, I think we're going to be able to hear you better. You're breaking up. So we had
Yes.
talked also about maybe having a QR code or something like that, and I don't know if that's appropriate at this point in the conversation, but if we decide to do that for survey or insights or something,
Yeah,
we
the
can
surveys.
invite people to just
Hmm.
cut it out and stick it on their
Just in
countertops.
in general, back to, what, do you have a particular thing you're thinking of doing specifically with this list?
I think like what Mo said, like my experience is we come up with a list and we engage them at least initially and see what feedback we get. But part of it's going to be a cost thing if we do, because that's, I mean, mailings cost the town money, so we have to
Mhm.
kind of gauge how much money we have and go from there. But I would imagine that yes, at least on the broad scope, we should outreach at least once in the very beginning to these groups. I mean, by suggestion.
Let them know we're doing it and have some feedback, and we can point to the web page and that's gonna get regularly updated, and they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So maybe one mailing, it could even be a postcard,
Yeah.
to let everybody know, seems like a good thing,
Mhm.
And or email. So for the groups that, and anyone knows, if you have an email contact, that'll be best. We can-
Maybe once we have the draft, to me, it would be useful, like, oh, if there's a specific topic, let's say it's the park, and we never got involved, and say, hey, would you review this section or something like that, where it would be nice to have every section already, that way, if we, we'll reach out, that section we needed, the farmers. Something like that, but I like the how comprehensive. it is first. Get everybody, they know about it. It's a good strategy.
We could also put it at the farmer's market, because people will pick them up and fill them out and drop them off. It would save money on mailing if you could do that.
So that's a good
Well-
segue to section 4.
Okay, I was gonna say a QR code is really good too. You can just email a PDF and they can print it out and stick it on
Yeah.
their, tape it to their countertop.
So-
Yeah, you want to move on to?
Yeah.
Next
So
section.
similar to section 3 on page 7, is approaches to community engagement. And if there's anything like Ann mentioned, the QR code. Is there anything that you feel would be a great way to engage, tactics to engage the community? That'd be great. So there you go.
How about if we, again, we're just throwing ideas out, but once we get a little further along, not a kiosk, but like a poster that can kind of like sit at the farmer's market. It doesn't have to, it's just like, here's an update or something, and then maybe it sits at the library, or we kind of move it around. People are just aware of it. The thought. I'm happy to help make it.
Stick that QR code on there.
Yeah.
Stick it everywhere.
Put it everywhere.
Yeah, why not, right? Just
Why
like,
not?
hey,
Have you ever,
Is the QR code for a survey that we're gonna have?
yeah, or whatever, you can go to a website.
Oh, when,
It's just like if I'm walking down to get, if I want to go walk the gorge trail and I see a little thing there that says, oh, say something about our comprehensive plan. I'm like, oh, I bring it up with my QR code and it just brings it up to my
Will you be able
phone.
to fill it out
Yeah.
online and then send?
Yeah.
That would be, I do that, sure. 'Cause everybody knows it's fun.
Arthur?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
that
could
would-
have,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah,
That
so
would-
you'd have the survey, maybe we have a link to the website where we
Right.
have our comprehensive plan and with recent updates and like can kind of use that as our basis. I mean, personally, I would probably prefer to use the website
Mhm.
than create a Facebook page, but I don't know if others feel differently.
Mhm.
I like that. And I actually like the idea,
I do
of like
too.
an update every month. Here's where we are, or every 2 months, here's what's going on. Just
Facebook page is a lot to manage.
Yes.
And I think just
Yeah.
it's driving people to the website. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and
People
then you
can stay
can have the
updated.
survey there and hopefully the people. can-
Well, yeah, if you put a QR, like you said,
Yeah.
down at the park, you can have one, at the farmer's market, you can have one, people can bring it up on their phone, fill it out.
Yeah.
But,
You
you know,
have it
a
at
brief
every
one, it doesn't have to
station
be
at
very
Sure
long.
Save. I mean, you can put them
Right.
all over the place. It's
And then
really
just send
easy
it right
and
away.
people do it.
Yeah.
They do it because it's easy. Have you ever used a Padlet map for mapping?
Yeah, we had one at last, several actually.
It's pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them like in real action. I was working with a group in Texas that did some pretty amazing stuff with their map app
I'm hoping we can engage whatever consultant we get
to do that.
Well, that, I like this, guys. You guys are really good at this. I like the idea of having like an update, like, okay, here's where we are in the process, and if they hit the QR code. So when it would be appropriate, like, okay, we now have, like, we're kind of making progress, right? But do we have enough to put on there, or do you think like, okay, when we get our, consultant, or when do you think it's time to start having these
Start pushing it
updates?
out there.
Maybe we're not removing Ty.
That is the other person. They were sending some hate speech through the chat. They're just trolling. I'm not really sure.
Oh, that's
you're
why she's
dealing
shaking
with,
her
That
head.
wasn't Ty.
Oh, sorry,
That was
Ty.
after, and then they changed the name.
We can't hear you, but
I don't know
I'm
if
sorry
others
that
feel like
happened.
That's
they
not
just
cool.
sent, like some very inappropriate messages. to the
oh
chat.
no,
Wow.
sorry about that.
Um,
So when do we begin? That's
Yeah.
probably a topic for conversation. Does anyone have ideas?
Well, right now, we're just organizing. So I don't know if an update is really necessary because it's more, we're organizing everything. But once we get something out, like if we wanted to send out a survey or anything like that, then yeah, the updates should start to come in. But we really haven't done very much to really
Okay.
write about. I mean, we can say that we sitting at a committee and discussing, but
Yeah.
it's a little
That
boring.
makes sense.
Yeah.
No, you-
Oh, I thought
you
you
were
were trying to
first.
say something.
I was, but you can
Um,
go first.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think we can just have for now on the page, a little summary of what we're doing here. The town of Ulysses has the last time was 2009. We're doing an update. We're gonna look at a whole bunch of things here, the typical things that you look at in a comp plan, but summarized. We're, gonna seek a lot of input in a variety of ways. Stay tuned here. We're also excited that we have this grant from the Climate Smart Communities to incorporate sustainability and think about climate vulnerability into it. Different people care about those different things. So just like a little, paragraph or two thing that this is happening,
Mhm.
stay tuned, and then here's who the, people are on, here's the minutes, and we'll be adding to things.
Yeah,
And so I think we can certainly
at
have
least do that
now
much.
and,
Mhm.
and I can do shit, and I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
if you want.
Oh, great, thank you. Liz?
I was just gonna say, and I think one of like, so there are a lot of it, there's a lot of information already up on the website, and I don't disagree that we can start kind of getting this circulated now so people are aware. And I think one of the first official things that should probably be up on the first page, not maybe in the document library, is this PIP, once we finalize it.
Yep.
Just so they see that we are, the community engagement is one of the biggest items with this conflict, and we need feedback from the community. So I
Yeah.
think if we have that up front on the page.
Is this on the town website?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, our names are on.
Yeah.
And there's a
Okay.
link about how you can participate too, in terms of the Zoom meetings and all that.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a good start. I mean, I don't know. Maybe start with a couple places to see. I don't know how long it would take to do a QR. I'm not tech savvy like that.
So easy.
So I don't even know how to start with that.
Push a
I'll
button.
touch Michelle.
Okay.
She's our tech person.
I do what?
Set up a QR code that goes
Oh.
to this website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
I need to find it.
I think it's pretty
So you
simple.
need to-
They're very easy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Okay, great, thank you. Anything else?
Any other suggestions, please feel free to email me.
Anything at all?
Okay.
One thing that I mean, I can email, but maybe raise it and see what everybody thinks, which is just the name of what we say this is doing. Right now it says, well, it says different things, but the thing it most often says is comprehensive plan periodic update. And so I don't know why we need the word periodic in there. I think we can just say it's the Ulysses Comprehensive Plan Update. And because that's what it is, and periodic is a little confusing, I think. And the other thing I just wanted to ask about is that it says 2024 to 2044, so conveying that this is like a 20-year, did we decide that at all? And so I'm just thinking, why even
Yeah,
put it in that box? Why not just say 2024, because that's when our goal is to finish it. Ulysses Comprehensive Plan Update. And then, because sometimes comprehensive plans, as you know way better than me, have like timelines as part of the recommendations. And it's like, look at it every 5 years just to see certain, to help keep
Right.
the boards thinking about what they're doing.
Mhm.
Revise it every 10 years or whatever,
Yeah.
the recommendations are built into there. So I just feel like, why nail
Yeah.
ourselves to 20 years in the title of what we're doing?
yeah, so it's a good question. Do you want to say where that came from or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll try to be brief and succinct. So periodic is a specific term. It's like a Flannery's term, and I get where it can be maybe a little confusing for some people. So periodic, when it comes to comprehensive plan, means a large chunk of time, and it's a massive update. So whenever you hear a community saying they're doing a periodic update to the comp plan, it's a major comprehensive update of at least 10, generally 20-year time period. An normal update to a comp plan should happen on a more frequent basis, like on an annual basis. And if you look at our comp plan 2009, it's interesting because it said that it should have been updated 10 years with annual updates.
Right.
So I'm hoping as a professional moving forward, and where that time came from 2024 to 2044 is because we expect adoption in 2024.
Right.
And so then a 20-year time period that we're planning out to is 20 years. The next periodic update should happen in 10 years though. We're not waiting for 20 years. It really should happen in 10 years. It's just that as a long-range planning document, we're looking no further or 20 years. But yeah, it's annual updates, hopefully every year. And as part of that is looking at capital improvement projects or any budgetary updates, or if we have new planning projects like with the water source protection plan. Anytime anything like that city or townwide is done, there should be an update to the town board. And then we amend this because we want the comp plan to be a living document. We don't want it to happen. What I think happened with the 2009 is that it went on a shelf and people forgot to update it. So that's where the periodic term comes from.
Could I pipe in too on the 20-year part? There's good evidence in planning circles, at least, that it's helpful to actually set specific dates, because then when the public is thinking, then we're all thinking about the same thing. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be any changes, right? Or that you're going to wait 20 years to do it. But when we're thinking, we're not thinking about necessarily 100 years. We're helping the public understand that we're planning for the next essentially generation of our community. And so thinking in those terms so that we have some shared language and shared understanding of a time frame. So that's some of the other reasons why you very frequently see those date ranges put on comp plans.
I mean, I
Great,
think
thank
that-
you.
That's great, and it makes sense. I'm just, and it, it'll be in our, it can be in the, the introduction, and it'll be in our visions and all. I just wonder if it needs to be this big, long title that's really confusing. And so all I'm suggesting is that maybe we, and it, everywhere it says comprehensive plan periodic. It just, I think it would just be more readable and smoother, and this is the public involvement plan, that if it was just a little bit less cumbersome of a title, that's all.
It probably makes sense if I mention, or if we mention at the very front, periodic update, that long term, and then explain what that is.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
moving forward, just say
Just
comp plan
comp
update.
plan update.
Yeah.
I just think if you have this in one place
That's a good idea.
and explained it, and then the title. is
And then you
not
just
so
mention,
confusing. Yeah.
mention in that moment that you're going to call it this from here forward,
Yeah.
and then we'll call it that from here
Yeah.
forward.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
suggest.
Good idea. Okay. Anything else?
No, I was just gonna say that that's how we did it. The master plans were done that way.
Yeah.
Every 10 years, and then every year we go through. But we had an organization in New Hampshire that helped with master plans. That would keep us informed of what's going on in the region. And that way our master plan could be updated. And here you don't have that.
I had the same thing in Washington, so I feel like we're a little out in the sea on our own.
Right, exactly. That's what it feels like, yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to go over in this before we put this one? No actions we needed to take here, right, to agree upon? Okay, we're good. All right, so the next item is next steps. I don't know if in there you want to mention the email change for the chair, or if I say that now, or,
So,
okay.
do you want-
Yeah, so there's going to be a formal email for the chair for my position. And so we will add that to the website, or maybe it's already on there. And I will send an email to the committee, and that's the email that will go out to the public, and then you can feel free. I'll obviously have that up all day and following that. So it's CP chair at Ulysses. Town of Ulysses ny.gov. CP chair at Town of Ulysses
Once we make sure all the-
ny.gov.
once we make sure all the gremlins are out and it's actually working correctly, I'll put it on the webpage.
Okay, I think it was working today. I had a weird delay, but I think it's working, so. Feel free to test it. Email me.
Okay.
I'll let you know if you don't hear from me, that means I didn't get it. So I think item C here, we're gonna just identify next steps specifically, and then we'll adjourn.
So hopefully we will have more information on the DC grant and the RFQ next week. And we'll engage Michelle to hopefully give us a lot more information. For next steps, though, for committee members, I'm excited to tell you that I have homework for all of you.
Yes.
I think it'll be a fun project, and I'll send it out to you guys tomorrow. What
What
I
are you
would
gonna tell us about?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a surprise.
What I've asked Molly to do is parse out the policies and goals of the 2009 comp plan and list them out. What I'd like board members to do, hopefully feel comfortable with, is, and I'll also distribute a list of both regional, New York State, and also US-wide jurisdictions that have comp plans within the last 10 years. And look at them, look at their comp plans for areas that resonate with you. So environmental,
Housing.
yes, housing. It's like any item that really resonates with you. Look at what other communities have done for goals, policies, and action items, and maybe see gaps that the 2009 plan doesn't have and which you'd like to see addressed. And we'll have a form that you can say, you can just do a copy paste, say, I looked at, I think one of the places was Sandwich, Massachusetts, I believe. Just because of, yeah,
Me too.
just do copy paste, say, I really like this, I'd like to see, and we can discuss that at the next meeting.
I can do that for you right now. if you like. I did copy and paste a lot of items out of the 2009 that I thought was everything.
Okay.
Might have to change and update, but I thought the ideas were very good.
Great.
And so for the, and you also wanted edits, like, and do you want that just to use? Does it go to the chair, to go to the whole group? Like, how do you want that?
Want to give it a deadline and
Look
then
at
you
it,
can
work
send
out
out a
it.
next draft or?
I'll put that out in an email, but maybe to help other people, if other people don't want to see everything and be bombarded with emails, just email me and I'll take care of everything.
That would be fun.
Um,
Thank you.
And then do you want to have a time frame for us to get you feedback?
Yeah, and I'll put that out.
Okay,
Okay.
so you'll let us know. Okay. Any other next steps?
No. It'll be a lot.
All right, our next meeting is the 14th, right? Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Is that it? Okay, so we can adjourn. We have somebody move to.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Great, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, no, we want to, yeah. Thanks, everyone.
And you think you really have to vote on adjournment motion.
You don't, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't think so.
Okay, so also, can I just say, when I'm doing something wrong,
No,
please
no,
tell me
I
I'm
don't
doing
think
it.
it's
No, no,
wrong.
no,
I'm
no.
just saying, I don't think you have
Because I have no idea.
No one ever- no one ever objects to it.
Yeah, anybody want to stay longer?
Because somebody might want to say something.